owner of OcraMed Health, going live today. I want to talk about how to avoid injuries in the gym. So obviously as a chiropractor for the last 31 years, I treat injuries, and I treat a lot of athletes, and I treat a lot of people that get hurt while they're training. And there's a lot of things that you can do to help prevent injuries. I mean, if you train long enough, chances are you're gonna get injured. But there's a lot of things you can do to avoid that. Okay, and what I want to go over today is kind of like the things you can do before you work out, during your workout, and after your workout to prevent injuries. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about before the workout. So I think one of the most important things you have to do as an athlete or as someone who's working out is you have to be in tune with your body. You know, how does it feel that day? You're doing legs that day, it's squat day. Are you having, muscle knots in your hamstrings or in your glutes right before you're about to squat? You're about to bench press that day. Your shoulder in the front is sore. You need to be in tune with your body, because if you ignore those little indicators, you're going to get hurt. So you have to be in tune. So for example, like the other day I was squatting, and right before, as I was kind of warming up, I knew right away that I had kind of like a high hamstring kind of tightness going on. And so I made sure that before I got going and started using any real weight on my squats, that area was loosened up. And that's what I want to talk about, as far as before. So you want to make sure you warm up properly before you train. And what I mean by that is you don't want to just come into a gym cold, start stretching cold, and go right into your workout. So I like to run around a little bit for like 10 minutes. I don't care if it's a matter of actually running or going on a treadmill, or if you don't have anything like that. Some days I'll just do jumping jacks. I'll just jump up and down doing jumping jacks for 5 or 10 minutes until I feel that my body temperature, has come up and I'm starting to get a little perspiration, I'm warmed up. Then I'll get into some stretching. Now, as I mentioned, as I'm stretching, if I notice an area that doesn't feel quite right, and in particular, if it's an area that I'm working that day, so that tight hamstring, knowing that I was going to squat, it wouldn't have been a big deal that day if I was about to bench press. I would have been, I'll take care of my hamstring later. But I'm not going to start squatting with a knot in my hamstring. I mean, that's an injury waiting to happen. So what I did was I was stretching, and then I said, okay, I got to get this knot loosened up. So I started rolling it out. I took a Tai Chi max ball, and I just kind of worked on that knot, just a couple minutes, nothing great, nothing too crazy. And I had two options basically at that point. If it doesn't loosen up, I'm going to have to change my workout around, because I'm not going to get injured and set myself back 4 to 6 weeks. If it loosens up, great, I'm going to continue with my workout. So yesterday, I worked on it a little bit. I rolled it after I got done stretching. That knot, that tightness in my hamstring released, and I knew I was good to go to start squatting. Now, once you get loosened up, you roll out any tight spots, you're going to start your workout. It's so important to make sure you warm up properly, in the sense that I see a lot of, especially younger guys, they'll just start off with like max weight. I mean, I see it all the time, in the gym. They go over younger guys tend to go over to whatever they're doing, bench press. They start loading up the weight, no warm-up sets. You can get away with that when you're 18. When you're 57, you don't get away with that. You have to do some warming up. So I always make sure, once I'm stretched out, once I'm rolled out, and I feel good, I always do some warm-up sets. I don't count the warm-up sets as part of my workout, but I always climb up to that weight that I'm going to do. So if I'm squatting and I know what obviously my plan is for the day and what I want to do, I know before I start, obviously. So I know I'm going to use a certain amount of weight for a certain amount of reps. And so I will climb with at least three or four warm-up sets to make sure that everything feels good. There's no other tightness or any other knots that I have to take some time to work out, and that everything's at 100% before I start loading on some real weight to train with. Okay, so the warm-up sets are very important to prevent injuries. The other thing that should be noted is how you go about your training. I feel like too many people out there do too many workouts where they include max sets. In other words, when you're training, I see people all the time, it's almost like every workout there's a max going on. They're maxing out on bench press, they're maxing out on squats. Even power lifters don't max out regularly. Power lifters basically train and they get ready to max out on pretty much the day that they have their competition. I mean, there's no, if you're not a power lifter, in fact, there's really no reason to be doing max lifts. And max lifts make you more susceptible to injuries. You're overloading your body. You're trying weights that you've never done before. And it's okay to do once in a while, but do not train where every workout's a maximum attempt. Your body won't even respond to that. You'll just shut down your nervous system and it ruins your training. I mean, it's like it's an overload, and overloading the muscular system, the nervous system all the time is not good. So I don't train with every day thinking that it's, you have to do the most weight you've ever done. Most of your training, you should be in that rep range. You should have that. What are you training for? Are you just training to be fit? You're training to build up some muscle. Maybe you want to be in that 8 to 10 rep range. Heavy days, maybe you're going down to 4 to 6 reps. But there's no need to be at 1 rep, maxing it out all the time. So that's a big way that people get hurt. It's dangerous to do max reps, and it's not something that you need to be doing. It's not going to really benefit you to be doing that. So let's cut out the max reps, train smart. And so that's one thing during when you're getting into training. The other thing, when you're training, what I like to do, and I've really felt this has helped me avoid injuries over the years, is that every time I switch an exercise. So my first exercise, as I mentioned, we're going to do warm-up sets, 3, 4, 5 warm-up sets to get started. But every time I switch an exercise, so if I'm bench pressing, and then my next exercise is, say, incline dumbbell presses, I always do one set that I call an accommodation set. And I always do one set of kind of like a light to moderate weight to adjust to the new position. In other words, I was just bench pressing and I did X amount of sets on bench, but now I'm going over to dumbbell inclines. And so say if I wanted to do my sets with 70-pound dumbbells, I don't grab the 70s on the very first set. I might grab the 50s and just do a few reps just to kind of acclimate to the position. I'm in a different position. I'm in an incline now. I have dumbbells instead of a barbell. And so I'll grab that lighter set, that lighter weight, and just do 4, 5, 6 reps just to get the position, feel good, make sure everything feels okay, that does something not feel right. Like I said, being in tune with your body. I do that accommodation set. I feel good. Now I do all my sets. I move on to another exercise. I do the same exact thing. I do another accommodation set. I do a lighter weight for one set just for a few reps. Make sure everything feels good. It's not making me tired. It's not ruining my workout. It just takes a minute. I just want to change it. I'm going from an incline to a decline to a flat. Make sure you feel good. Don't grab the heaviest weight on the very first set. So I feel like using those accommodation sets, for me at least, have been a big help over the years, keeping myself injury free. The other thing I like to do too, and personal preference, but I like to do a little light stretch in between sets. You got to give your body, whatever you resting, rest periods. Like I said, depends on your training, whether you're resting 30 seconds between a set or 60 seconds between a set. I don't want to, instead of just standing there and whatever, I try to keep moving. I don't usually sit between sets. I usually keep moving, and since I'm up on my feet, I usually do, maybe a little light stretch here and there, and I'll do a little stretching between sets. So I'm warm now. I'm stretching between sets, and this is all stuff that's gonna just keep yourself from getting injured. And then probably the last thing, when you get done training for the day, so this is all basically before, during, and after stuff that you can do to prevent injuries. After the training, that's when I actually will take the time and do my more intense stretching and rolling. So in other words, I make sure there's nothing tight or restrictive before I work out. I do my training, I train hard, and then it's after the training that I will say, okay, now I'm done training, I'm done for the day, but I'm going to spend some time and I'm going to do some more intense stretching, and I'll do more intense like fascia release work, like rolling and things like that. But I do that after. If you do too much intense rolling and stretching before the workout, it can sometimes impact your training. So I try to save that for the end, as far as doing the more intense work. But you got to make sure you do that. A lot of people, they get out of that gym when the last set is done, they're done, and they head out the door. And that's a big mistake a lot of people make. Stay that extra 15 minutes and do that rolling and stretching. It's super important. If for some reason you do have to leave the gym and you don't have time to do it, then you got to make sure you're doing it later. You have to do that to stay ahead of injuries and to stay loose. And it's even more important, you know, the older you get, you know, you get away with a lot of, like I said, you can get away with a lot of stuff when you're 18 or 20, but when you're 30 and you're 40 and you're 50 and beyond, you got to train smart if you want to stay healthy. And the worst thing to do is to be injured. Injuries will ruin your training. It'll set you back weeks and weeks and weeks. And so there's a lot of things that you can do to prevent it, and I hope some of the stuff I just went over helps. So let me see if there's any things going on here. Let's see. Junior Santa, I have a 4-pack from your videos. Where's the 6-pack? Oh, you're only 10. All right, there you go. Keep training, Junior. You know that 6-pack's gonna come in. And that's about it. So no real questions we have today. That's fine. I just wanted to get on today, do a quick live stream. Hopefully, you know, the video will be up for a while. So actually, it'll be on my channel. So if you watch it a little later, you got any questions about injuries and injury preventions, just leave a comment down in the comment section down below. And if you haven't done so already, take a moment right now, subscribe to my channel, OcraMed Health on YouTube. Click the little bell notification. It notifies you every time we upload a new video. I really appreciate everyone who tunes into the channel. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoy the content, and I hope what we go over helps you. And don't forget, OcraMed Health is always here to keep you fit forever.